Okay, so here, Daily Wire just hired Pints with Aquinas, who has 700,000 followers on YouTube. So they're hiring another Catholic at the Kosher Daily Wire because there's nothing they fear more. And we got some clips from their latest panel with their new employee here. Let's watch some of these.
Because we are bringing on the beloved host of Pints with Aquinas, Matt Fratt. Matt, welcome.
G'day, fellas. It's nice to be here.
G'day, mate.
I've admired you guys from afar, and I've seen that admiration just steadily plummet as I've gotten to know you, but here we are.
That's funny.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have to say I've done a terrible job here with my Jew propaganda outfit, where apparently I hire and am involved in hiring only Catholics.
You had No. That's great Jewish propaganda, bro. You had Jordan Peterson to promote Christianity too. We know the playbook. We know what Ben Shapiro is up to with all of his promoting of Christianity. For America to flourish, we need more people who are Christians to declare Christ as king and go back to church. Ben Shapiro, who wrote an article about how Christianity is Noahides for the Gentiles. Noahide laws. And like his friend Dennis Prager says as well. He's like, my Jewish propaganda is so bad, that's why I'm hiring all these Christians. Au contraire. Actually, this is complete vindication.
Here we are.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have to say I've done a terrible job here with my Jew propaganda outfit, where apparently I hire and am involved in hiring only Catholics.
You had
literally
the space
only
lasers.
Catholics.
Yeah.
It's like Knowles and Walsh and Isabel and UMatt. I don't know what's either it's an unstoppable force or I'm really bad at my job. And it could be both. I mean, it could be both.
Ben Shapiro hates more than Christians. He's trying to destroy Christianity. He goes and visits the Pope. He embraces the Pope. They both got their small hats on. He's giving him gifts. Yeah, dude, it's how much case closed. Oh, my Jew propaganda is so bad. I'm hiring all these Catholics. They're like, nothing Jews fear more than Catholics. See Through It All says that's the guy who talked 7 Noahide laws with Shapiro. Pints with Aquinas did. You have that clip? Share that. See Through It All. If you can find it, I'll share that. I'll play that clip of them talking about Noahides. That was his job interview, basically saying like, I'll be a good Noahide for you. I was also going to look up because I have
those things.
Ben Shapiro with this other Christian guy here that he interviewed on his show. This other Catholic guy, but there's another Catholic guy that Ben Shapiro interviewed also that was really kosher. I was going to search while one of these videos was playing. See Through It All, I was going to search your account for Shapiro to see if I can find those compilations.
It's actually.
Claven, you texted me and said that there are more Catholics at Daily Wire than at the Vatican, and I wasn't sure if you knew that may have been.
We're the real Catholics now.
Vatican or not, but it was good one.
I actually am impressed that the Catholics are actually getting nicer. I mean, I actually like Matt, which is as opposed to these guys, and it is getting to be. It's like the Vatican except for straight people. It's so it's really it's really exciting.
Dude, they just take it. They're just like, yeah, we're a bunch of pedos. Yep, can't deny that.
The clip.
Now, what do they know on him? Is he secretly gay? Is he secretly gay and they're going to blackmail him and control him and keep his secret so that he can shill for Israel with all his might?
I object on the record to that.
Here's a sub.
That's funny. Object on the record. He's thinking, oh, you better say something. You can't let these Jews hate on your Catholic Church.
It's an unstoppable force.
Okay, we played that already.
Tell me that God...
Here, this is an interview with Ben Shapiro and a Catholic.
In the New Testament, Paul says in Romans 11, all Israel will be saved. That is the purpose and plan of God. There is a Christian kind of popular doctrine that I reject with all my heart, and that is that the church has replaced Israel in the promises of God. It's called supersessionism. I don't believe in that. I think that, honestly, hate to say this, but I honestly think it is a latent form of anti-Semitism to say that. You can't tell me that God made promises in the Old Testament to his people Israel concerning his future kingdom and salvation, and that he would give them a new heart and a new spirit, and he would write his laws in their heart, and they would be saved, and he would be their king, and they would be his people, and all those kingdom prophecies. You can't possibly tell me that God didn't mean what he said. And the New Testament, Paul says in Romans 11, all Israel will be saved. That is the purpose and plan of God.
It's all the plan to save Israel. Okay, let's see. This might be
remedy
the
to
mix.
heal a sick culture. I ask every guest this. If you could offer one remedy to heal a sick culture, it could be physically, emotionally, or spiritually. What would that remedy be?
Go to church. Go to church. I said, this is a Jew. Go to church.
Why do you say that as a Jew?
Because this is a Christian country. And I want Jews to go to synagogue, but there ain't that many of us. So if you're a Christian, or if you grew up in a Christian household, even if you didn't, go to church. Church is good for you. I've said that my entire career. Charlie said it his entire career. It ain't going to stop now. Keep going to church. It'll save the country if you go to church.
Oh, go to church. It'll see this country will be saved if you go to church. Go to your church, Goyim, and worship the God that chose me. Go to the church and talk and read. That's just what his employee just said. You're anti-Jew, you're anti-God, and Jesus grafted in the whole world to worship the God that chose the Jews. That's the shtick. And he's like laughing like, oh, my Jew propaganda is so bad. I'm hiring all these Catholics. Wrong. That is the propaganda. Torah, Goyim.
If you're a Catholic, you should absolutely go to church more often. Let's put it this way. Well, the idea in Judaism...
I don't know how this cast it.
Nomers of sorts doesn't feel the necessity to force... to
evangelize and to bring...
Because Judaism doesn't actually suggest... Being chosen doesn't mean being superior. Right?
Doesn't mean superior, but then hearing another clip of him promoting Noahide laws with... Okay, that would be a good question, conspiracy truther. Some should ask him if Muslims should keep going to mosques. I bet you he'd probably say yes. He'd be like, yeah, go to like a good version.
Particular answer, but I know there have been some jokes about, you know, if I were to convert, would I end up as a Catholic or a Protestant? And I've offended both parties by suggesting that I have tremendous sympathy for the rules-based order that the Catholics provide. If I were going to ditch an even more rules-based order, I'd go all the way and it'd be party time, and I'm going full Protestant. So I've pissed off everybody with that particular answer. But I know there have been some jokes about, you know, if I were to convert, would I end up as a Catholic or a Protestant? And
says he'd be a Protestant.
Both parties by suggesting that I have tremendous sympathy for the rules-based order that the Catholics provide. If I were going to ditch an even more rules-based order, I'd go all the way and it'd be party time, and I'm going full Protestant.
Full evangelical, Zio-cucked, Shabbos Goy, Noahide, Protestant. Duh, that's what they would encourage. But he still greatly admires the Catholic Church and will hire a bunch of traditional Catholics to tell you to Judaize it and kosherize it even more than it already is.
That the Catholics are actually getting nicer. I mean, I actually like Matt, which is as opposed to these guys, and it is getting to be. It's like the Vatican, except.
Okay, we've seen this one. Pints with Aquinas. This was his job interview. Ben Shapiro's new hire: a docile, obedient Noahide slave. Let's check this.
This is one of the things when we talk about the West and Western civilization, that a muscular pursuit of religious values, and in the West, you're talking Christian values, is absolutely necessary to the upholding of the West. That all the fundamental premises of the West are built on these Christian values. The reason people say Judeo-Christian is just because many of those values are held in common with Judaism, and obviously Christianity and the New Testament are based on the Old Testament originally. But the eternal values of Judeo-Christianity, of biblical living, those haven't changed with time, and they can't change with time, and they shouldn't change. This is one of the things that I think is so fascinating about Catholicism. I've talked about this with Bishop Barron, is that Catholicism, Christianity started off as a rip on Phariseeism, obviously, from a philosophical level, right?
Our top guy was doing that, yeah.
Right,
a rip.
And again, that's actually nothing new in sort of Jewish history. In
Our top guy, he says Paul, their top guy, was a Pharisee.
the sense that Jeremiah does the same thing, right? If you read the prophets are constantly saying things like, does God need your sacrifices? He needs you to be kind to the poor. He needs you to give charity. He needs you to think about virtue. Does he really need like roast meat? Right? That's actually, Jesus is saying something, that's why Jesus is Jewish. I mean, he's not saying anything that's actually super foreign.
He never said it. He never said it. They just took the words of Jeremiah and put them into the mouth of the fictional Jesus on paper.
Watch how Catholics practice and how Orthodox Jews practice.
There is similarity.
There's a lot of similarity there.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that we kept the moral law, not the Mosaic law, because the understanding was now that the Mosaic law wasn't what justified you or saved you or something like that. I have another question for you. Why don't you want me to be a Jew, or do you?
I don't care.
Yeah, so why?
Why? Because
I want you to be Catholic, obviously.
Right. No. Yeah. And by the way, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I've always said to my Catholic friends, my Protestant friends.
Yeah.
As long as you're coming at me with a book and not a sword, that's great.
And they're not being annoying and just berating you or something like that. But.
I mean, even if you want to be annoying about it, that's fine. Like, you care enough about my soul that you want me to be saved. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's much appreciated, and we'll find out in the overtime period who is right and who is wrong. But
why? Yeah. Why don't
you see? They have zero concern about being wrong. According to the Christians, it's like they think the Jews really know Jesus is the Messiah, but they're just so evil and satanic that they rejected him anyway. Like, no, they know that it's Jewish bullshit, and they're not worried in the slightest about Jesus returning and casting them into the lake of fire. They don't fear the name of Jesus at all. They laugh that all the billions of Goyim bow down to the King of the Jews and worship the God of Israel. Bibi said the same thing. Exactly, Vrilzer. They all say it. Dude, these rabbis, not a single bone in their body is worried about Jesus being real and returning and conquering them.
Because we talked about earlier about the only reason you should believe something is because it's true.
Right.
You presumably believe I believe falsehoods and you believe true things. So why shouldn't you encourage me to abandon some of my beliefs and adopt some of yours?
Right. So doctrinally, what Judaism believes is that the commandments of Israel were only given to Israel.
Okay.
Meaning that the 7 Noahide commandments that I referred to earlier, those are incumbent on all of humanity because they're given to Noah, right, before the Jews actually arise as an independent family and people. Mm-hmm. And so those apply to everyone. So if you're not a member...
Dude, this is verbatim what Jay Dyer said in the clip I posted the other day. I'm going to go find it just so I can show you. Verbatim.
That you want me to be saved. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's much appreciated, and we'll find out in the overtime period who is right and who is wrong. But
why don't you? Because we talked about earlier about the only reason you should believe something is because it's true.
Right.
You presumably believe I believe falsehoods and you believe true things. So why shouldn't you encourage me to abandon some of my beliefs and adopt some of yours?
Right. So doctrinally, what Judaism believes is that the commandments of Israel were only given to Israel.
Okay.
Meaning that the 7 Noahide commandments that I referred to earlier, those are incumbent on all of humanity because they're given to Noah, right, before the Jews actually arise as an independent family and people. Mm-hmm. And so those apply to everyone. So if you're not a member of the Judaic tribe, then those rules don't apply to you. So the 613 commandments that apply to me are boiled down to 7 for you. Mm-hmm. And so what that means is that if you want to join in to do those commandments, like, that's not required of you. Like, sure, you welcome if you want, but certainly Judaism doesn't feel the necessity to force
to evangelize and to bring people
because Judaism doesn't actually suggest being chosen doesn't mean being superior, right? I think this is one of the great misnomers of sort of history is that when the Jews say that they're a chosen people, what they mean is that they're better than everyone else. And it's like, no, in the same way that if I choose my oldest child.
Yeah. Imagine thinking that the God of the universe chose your special people for a special divine mission and role, but that doesn't mean you're better. Like, cut the bullshit, dude. Yeah, they would argue though that they're not the ultimate God; they're just more like lesser angels.
And we look at Acts 15, where this question comes up about how should Gentile and the church decides in Acts 15 that God wouldn't require anything more than what was required of Noah. So Acts 15 actually looks back to the Noahic covenant to say that since Christianity is true Israelite worship for the nations, that's our view of it. We're going to bring the Gentile converts in on the basis of what was expected in the Noahic covenant.
So exactly what Ben Shapiro says. Do you realize that Jay Dyer is the Noahide follower of Ben Shapiro's God that chose him? R.I.P. E-Crusaders. There is no Christianity without the Judeo part, right? Yeah, ceasefire is, Biodigital Goblin says, you cease, we fire. That's a Jewish ceasefire.
Take out the trash. Yeah. That doesn't mean that my oldest child is better. It means I need my oldest child to take out the trash. Like, that's not the same thing.
Okay.
And so the sort of idea that Jews are...
Dude, if I said one of my daughters is chosen and the other's not, and let's get real. The Bible says, Jacob I loved, Esau I hated, and you interpret Esau to mean the non-Jewish world. So cut the bullshit. It says you're above the other nations. Above doesn't mean superior. Above doesn't mean better. It also says you're the apple of his eye and his treasured possession, but it doesn't mean better. It doesn't mean we're superior. Like, yeah, right. Stop lying. We're not stupid.
Are in their own minds superior to everybody else because it is incumbent on them to do that. That's obviously not how Jews think, especially because there are a bunch of commandments that are incumbent on men in Judaism that are not incumbent on women in Judaism. Does Judaism then believe that women are of lesser value than men? I mean,
but apart from little laws, there must be like metaphysical things that you hold as true that you would like me to believe. Or at least you would like me. I don't mean to be confrontational, but you would clearly would want Christians to realize that Christ was not the Messiah. That he didn't. Maybe you don't want that, or maybe
he doesn't care.
You don't care one way or the other.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine. He's gonna cite Maimonides saying Jesus prepared the world and straightened the path and turned the world to the God of Israel. That was he gonna say, right? It's coming.
But like when I look at Mormons, you know,
Let him
I'm like,
answer,
okay,
bro.
and this isn't a criticism on you directly, but Joseph Smith was not a prophet. My Muslim friend, I love you, but like Muhammad was a liar or a lunatic. Maybe he was possessed, but he wasn't a prophet.
Right. So
I have to say that in love, and so I would wonder. And maybe it's just that you have a public platform, and so you don't want to get into that to offend people unnecessarily. But
it really isn't that. I mean, the Jewish doctrine is that as long as you believe in God, as long as, I mean, the actual seven commandments to non-Jews are believe in God, no eating the flesh of living animals, actually one of them. You have to establish courts of law.
Worship the God that chose me. You got to worship the God that chose me. You can't blaspheme. You can't blaspheme that God, and blaspheming Jews is blaspheming God because we made up God and we're his chosen people. And no idol worship, none of your stupid pagan, demon, satanic gods. Everybody must be under the dominion of the Jewish God that chose me. No big deal.
No murder, no sexual sins, no idolatry, and
no idolatry.
It's
no racial idolatry. None of your pagan gods. No big deal. Sign right up.
It's like seven of the 10 of the Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't actually believe that non-Jews are even bound by the 10 Commandments, right? They're bound by the 7 Commandments in Judaism. So it like boils even further down. So
don't even worry, Guy. You're not bound by 10 or 613. It's only 7. We bound you to only 7 laws. Like, don't worry about it. It's only 7 that you're obligated to do according to our Jewish traditions. But we're not proselytizing. Dude, how does anybody fall for this shit?
Believe in God is of little consequence to me so long as you do believe in the monotheistic God.
What if I believe in a God that lives on...
Otherwise you're Amalek and you will be cut off and you have no share in the world to come and you will be destroyed and blotted out, your memory blotted out forever if you don't worship the Yahweh and Hashem, the God that chose me.
7 of the 10 of the Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't actually believe that non-Jews are even bound by the 10 Commandments, right? They're bound by the 7 Commandments in Judaism.
Hey.
So it like boils even further down. So how you believe in God is of little consequence to me so long as you do believe in the monotheistic God.
What if I believe...
Thanks a lot, God. Help me, Jewish God. Help me, Jewish God.
His name is Jeffrey.
So if he doesn't,
and I say that's God,
if he doesn't fulfill the fundamental properties of God, then that doesn't count.
Which would be what?
So the fundamental properties of God would be that he's in charge of the universe, creator of the universe, master of the divine law.
Hey, Zeus or Odin created the universe. What now, Shapiro? What now, Shapiro? You gonna call me Amalek? You gonna pray for your Moshiach to come so I can be decapitated? What? What now?
All-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving would probably be in that category. There's debate in sort of Jewish circles as to whether you have to believe that God gave the commandments at Sinai, whether that's a debate between a couple of major rabbis, Maimonides included, as to whether if you discover those 7 laws on your own, but you don't believe that they were given at Sinai, does that count? Right? So there is some doctrinal debate there.
Which is even worse. This is what they always say, right, See Third All? They say that you can't just follow the laws because they're common sense. But you have to follow the laws because God said so. Like, you have to be a bitch about it. You got to get punked by God. Otherwise, they don't count. So if you're just a good person and you just naturally don't murder or steal or do any of these bad things, or you're just naturally like agnostic and don't believe in pagan gods, so no idolatry, or it's not good enough. Some rabbis say you have to do it only because the Jews tell you God says so. I always thought that was funny. It's funny how Shapiro emphasizes that part.
But in general, the basic idea that there is only one path to God in the same way that there is in Christianity.
I see.
That doesn't exist in the same way.
What about like a Mormon who believed that God was once a man like we are? Like, would you go, okay, I'm not saying you've given much thought about this, but would that be a place where you'd be like, no, I need to evangelize you, or not that word, but I need you to come to believe in God differently than you currently do?
So the answer to me is, I'm going to go with the I don't know answer. like pretty much everything.
You both get 3.
There's like major debates on all of these things. And there's a debate for a long time in Judaism over whether, say, Trinitarianism is monotheism or if it's not monotheism.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's like that was a serious debate in Judaism. It's come down.
Yeah, that's like their only problem with Christianity is the Trinity. And it's not even a problem with all of them. It is a debate if that's shatuf or not, if it's okay for the Gentile heathens to have a form of idolatry as long as it gets them to worship the God of Israel. Swinder's List says you can't just follow our laws, you also have to be our bitch. True.
I need to evangelize you, or not that word, but I need you to come to believe in God differently than you currently do.
So the answer to me is, I'm going to go with the I don't know answer. like pretty much everything.
You both get 3.
There's like major debates on all of these things. And there's a debate for a long time in Judaism over whether, say, Trinitarianism is monotheism or if it's not monotheism. Right? Like that was a serious debate in Judaism. It's come down on the side of it's monotheism.
Okay.
So it
here. Ben Shapiro considers even Trinitarian Christians as still being monotheistic. So you're not considered pagan idolaters that are going to be beheaded in the end time. Only the pagans are. The Jews' only problem with Christianity is that it has pagan elements in it. It's not fully Jewish enough. That's their only problem with it. And then the only Christian problem that they have with Judaism is it doesn't follow their flavor of Judaism and believe in who they think the Messiah is. It's also superficial and like extremely limited in scope of what's actually being debated here.
So I wouldn't know the answer as far as, Mormon doctrine specifically. Let's put it this way. If you're talking about like paganism, Judaism would have a problem with paganism.
Yeah, there it is.
That you believed.
So paganism, bad. Christianity, good. Ben Shapiro. And these Christians online, these e-crusaders still can't get it. He hired another top Catholic influencer because you still don't get it.
That there were 100 gods and they all ruled over different aspects of humanity. Then Judaism would say that does not fulfill the seven.
And if you were in dialogue with somebody...
Christians, Noahide compliant. We just saw Jay Dyer and Ben Shapiro confirm it. And pagans, not Noahide compliant. Yeah, nobody believes they are chosen other than Jews and Christianity. And Muslims to a degree. Yeah, you're Jewish if you don't believe we are the real Jews.
Like this, would you feel obligated to try to help divest them of that error so that they could be saved?
Sure. I mean,
Cool.
So then I would feel obligated to actually, in the same way that if somebody believed that adultery was morally acceptable, I would feel the obligation to say, well, no, adultery is not.
Okay, great find. Thank you, See Through It All. Great clip.